Brazilian soccer star Ronaldinho came from a family of soccer players to reach the pinnacle of success in the sport. After a celebrated youth career, Ronaldinho became a key member of the Brazilian team that won the 2002 World Cup. He has played for clubs in Brazil, France, Spain, and Italy, and has twice been named FIFA World Player of the Year. Ronaldinho was born Ronaldo de Assis Moreira on March 21, 1980, in Porto Alegre, Brazil. His father, João Moreira, was a former professional soccer player who also worked as a welder in a shipyard, and his mother, Miguelina de Assis, was a cosmetic saleswoman who later became a nurse. Ronaldinho's older brother, Roberto Assis, was also a professional soccer player. Ronaldinho was surrounded by soccer from the day he was born. "I come from a family where soccer has always been very present," he said. "My uncles, my father, and my brother were all players. Living with that kind of background, I learned a great deal from them. I tried to devote myself to it more and more with the passage of time." In particular, he idolized his father, who suffered a fatal heart attack when Ronaldinho was 8 years old. "He was one of the most important people for me, and in my career, even though he died when I was very young," he said. "He gave me some of the best advice I've ever had. Off the field, the right thing, and be an honest, straight-up guy. And on the field, play soccer as simply as possible. He always said one of the most complicated things you can do is to play it simple." Ronaldinho began playing organized youth soccer at the age of 7, and it was as a youth soccer player that he first received the nickname Ronaldinho, the diminutive form of his birth name, Ronaldo. "They always called me that when I was little because I was really small," the player explains, "and I played with players who were older than me. When I got to the senior national team, there was another Ronaldo, so they started calling me Ronaldinho because I was younger." Growing up in a relatively poor, hard-scrabble neighborhood, Ronaldinho's youth teams had to make do with makeshift playing fields. The only grass on the field was in the corner. Ronaldinho remembers. There was no grass in the middle. It was just sand. In addition to soccer, Ronaldinho also played futsal, an offshoot of soccer played indoors on a hard-court surface and with only 5 players on each side. Ronaldinho's early experiences with futsal helped shape his unique playing style, marked by his remarkable touch and close control on the ball. "A lot of the moves I make originate from futsal," Ronaldinho once said, explaining, "It's played in a very small space, and the ball control is different in futsal. And to this day, my ball control is pretty similar to a futsal player's control." great start when Flamengo won the 2011 Campeonato Carioca, but things turned sour by the following season. Ronaldinho missed several practices and performed indifferently in games, and eventually had his contract terminated due to unpaid wages. Ronaldinho signed with Atletico Mineiro in June 2012, a move that reignited his dynamic playmaking abilities, and he was given another shot with the national team to make the 2014 World Cup roster.